think the perfect comeback by any family member whenever somebody comes out to them should be just what we get in this book, where Jake's brother essentially goes, "Yeah, I've known it for years, what's new?" Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kat, and today I would like to talk about The Taking of Jake Livingston by Ryan Douglas, which is also the book of the month for August for the Diversity is Lit book club. I will link the discussion in the card, but it's full of spoilers, so beware. I will try to keep the spoilers in this review to a minimum. Jake is a black, gay teen who can see ghosts. He's been able to do that for years, but now it comes with the drawback of a murderous ghost going around because the kid that shot up the school a year prior to the events, I think, comes back as a ghost and is trying to possess him. I think this might be the first YA horror I've read. I'm not big on horror in general, so I don't have an awful lot to compare to. Overall, this book had quite a few interesting aspects, and then a couple of things that I think it could have done with some improvement as well. For Jake himself, sometimes I couldn't decide whether I wanted to hug him and protect him from the many mean people in this environment, or to shake him because he was just so meek at points. It's understandable why he is this way, but sometimes I just wanted him to be loud already and not wait until the end when he finally finds his voice and stands up for himself. It has to be said, when he stands up for himself, like a little less extreme would have possibly done it as well. You could have made your voice heard without doing physical harm to another person, although it's really hard to feel bad for the person that gets hurt in this context because they were really asking for it. Jake has to deal with quite a few complicated relationships, not only to the school system, who is really kind of crap because until another character arrives at the school, he's the only black kid there. And, oh boy, just want to kick everybody in the system. The principal, the teacher, like everybody deserves a slap. This. But then the relationships with his family are also pretty difficult. His dad is out of the picture, so you only see him in flashbacks, but a good riddance that this guy is gone. But the relationship with his mom and his brother is fairly complicated as well. So I will start with the positives. Jake is quite an interesting character to follow, even though I couldn't decide whether to hug or shake him at points. But he gives an interesting insight into an angry teenager who always gets told that this is not the place for you, whether it's because he's black or queer. But Jake is only one of the perspectives you get in this book. The other, well, not quite half, but the other POV is from the boy who committed the school shooting. So you get quite an insight into Sawyer's mind as well. And the backstory for his family is just rough. It's quite interesting because you get to see quite a bit of Sawyer. You kind of start to develop some empathy for the kid because he had a rough life. That obviously doesn't excuse what he's done just before he dies, but yeah, it's a rough read at points. I enjoyed the writing style overall, especially the distinctive voices you got between Jake and Sawyer in their POV chapters. Whenever Jake was in a fight or visited the other world of the ghosts, it was quite interesting. The descriptions were in part confusing, which actually adds to the story because slipping into another world like that would be rather confusing. So yeah, I quite enjoyed the fight scenes and the trips into the ghost world you get. Now onto the more confusing bits. We have a side character that knows that Jake can see ghosts, and they have the same ability. So once Jake feels like he's in trouble, he could easily go to them and ask them for more help, but he only goes to them once. He only has one conversation with them, and then he just forgets that this person exists, more or less. And I felt like with the situation that Jake was in, he should have turned to this person again or more often. because a murderous ghost is trying to take over my body seems like a thing where as a teenager you could maybe enlist an adult with the right abilities to help. Over the course of the story, Jake makes friends with 2 people at school and they help him out in a certain spot, but then he gets concerned that the angry ghost might come after them as well and kind of ignores them for half the story. So you only get to see them at the very end, like each person gets 1 chapter essentially where Jake hangs out with them again. And it just felt a bit tacked on, as if those characters were dropped for no reason. Because, spoiler ahead, because Sawyer is constantly watching Jake. He would know who was helping him anyway, and these people would make the shit list anyway. So you might as well keep them around where you may be able to protect them yourself instead of just, ignoring them for the rest of the story. I was a bit confused about that. On the whole, I'm not quite sure what Jake or ghosts can actually do. Neither in this world nor in the other world. At certain points in the story, both Jake and the ghost seem to develop new abilities out of nowhere, or maybe they always had them and we just didn't see it before. But it comes with little to no explanation most of the time, so I was a bit uncertain as to what anybody can do anywhere, really. Then Jake does something to a certain person in the story, and then there's only a single line addressing it after, and given the context and what he actually did to this person, I would have expected a bit more trauma and a bit more time afforded for Jake to actually deal with those events. But yeah, I don't want to go into detail because that would be a big spoiler. Overall, I quite enjoyed the book. I'm still not big on horror. If you hate creepy crawlies, then this is probably not for you because some of that stuff was just gross, and I blame this book for dreaming of roaches like the day after, so yeah. If you hate insects, pests, then probably not for you. Because I was left with a couple of questions and a bit of confusion, I'm going to give it this cat and a paw, which will round up to 4 stars on Goodreads and Amazon, I think. Yeah, if you're into horror, if you like YA, if you want to read about a queer black kid as the protagonist, this book might work for you. But stay away if you hate roaches. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll be back next week with another video. Like and subscribe if you want to help the channel out, and let me know in the comments whether you read the book or whether you're a fan of horror. Bye guys!